Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fourth Warp World Tech Talk. I am Jaku. Here today with me is Chris, Saturn Bachman, and David GrandPooBear Hunt.
What's up?
Hey,
Welcome.
how's it going?
All right. Good, man. How are you?
I'd say a long time no talk, but I think we've talked every day this week. So
Yeah, it's been it's been an interesting week. This one, we got our times. Like we always have our Tuesday and Thursdays, but
yeah,
sometimes we have Friday, sometimes we have Monday, sometimes we have Wednesday, and
Yeah.
and this week we're gonna have Saturday as well. So
yeah.
and probably even Sunday. There will probably be communication on all days. So yeah, you're not wrong.
All the days.
Almost as much communication as I have with Saturn.
You got
I
it.
don't know if that's possible, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not with the GTA stuff, but yeah, me and Saturn talk a lot. But I know who you guys are. We should probably do introductions and all that stuff. So let's get over to introductions. That is what's on the slides here. We got introductions. So as always, I'm Matt Jakubowski, also known as Jaku. I run Warp World. I didn't change my fun fact. I forgot. So I'm gonna have to come up with a fun fact. Oh, let's see. What's a good one? I already did Mayor.
That is a good fun fact, though. I mean, that's when I met Jaku, was in the middle of his pasta binge.
That's true.
He was, yeah. So you guys have to understand.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you guys have to understand. At this point in time in my life, like Jaku, I've never met him in real life. All I know about him is that he beat P-Break first. He's a hacker, and he only eats pasta at Olive Garden every single day. So I was really fascinated by this human before I met him in real life. Like I was very fascinated by him, his whole life, like how he lived, how he did everything. So, which probably links to probably one of the reasons why we became such good friends, because I was just so enthralled by what is going on with this man,
Yeah, to me that's just like a normal month. Those sorts of shenanigans, but to an outsider I could see like, wait, what the hell? Who is this person? So yeah, I left that one on for a good reason. But yeah, so I run Warp World. I've done a lot of things in security. I've done a lot of the development for Warp World and our services, but I'm an odd person. I'll be honest. I've got some weird quirks.
I can
up
second
next,
that.
speaking of weird quirks, we got Saturn. Got him.
Okay. Nice one. Okay. Yeah, I'm Saturn, Chris Bachman. As my title says, I'm the thing doer here at Warp World, aka those other things that are on the list. Yep, I've been doing IT sysadmin stuff for basically the entire time I've been an adult, which has been a while at this point. I joined Warp World. Yep, about mid 2018. Why? You were on it. I started streaming myself a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, what's my old friend Jaku doing? And turns out you're doing Warp World stuff. So I'm like, hey, I want in on this. So there you go. Earthbound fan forever since the day I played it. I like to geek out on the most geeky of all topics. And fun fact, Jaku made this one, and I thought it was funny, so I kept it for now. Has 3 kids, and none of them are named after Jaku. So there you go.
I tried really hard on that third one.
You tried.
Yeah, you really messed up with asking what I was up to to get involved.
I was just about to say, yeah. When is the last time you got to stream because of that, Saturn?
Well, that's true. That's true. I've not done much but work since I've asked Jaku that question. So, but it's been fun. Yeah. It's been good work. That's why I'm here. So,
yeah, fair enough. And then, as always, we got GrandPooBear here. This fun fact I also may have made up.
Yeah, I'm GrandPooBear. I've been actively streaming since 2013, full time since 2015. Around the time when I met Jaku, I was lucky enough to be there when he created this, and hopped right in and just been riding this train with him ever since. Yeah, I've been many games done quicks, other speedrunning events. I'm a Red Bull esports athlete, the only speedrunner in the world to have that title, or GTA role player for that matter. And we also do speedrun sessions. I host Speedrun Sessions, which is a touring speedrun event. We've been all over the country, including LAPalooza and the MGM Grand.
Don't give away all the other slides yet. That that goes into the history. No, it's all right. It's all right.
Never mind. Yep. By subs, I was one of the top 50 streamers in the world, and I've definitely played SMB3. Just not in a long time. It's been a long time now. Yeah, if you're a fan of me in the last year, you'd be like, "Oh, well, I have never seen this." So
it's funny because the last time I played Mario Maker, which obviously is the game that got us all connected and like most of us partnered and stuff. Like, haven't played Mario Maker 1 in a long time, but Mario Maker 2, the last time I played was when it was me, you, and Xwater doing that that stream sometime last year. Like, it was a lot of fun, but prior to that, it's been years, and it's crazy to think because at one point in our lives, Mario Maker was all we did. It was like eat, breathe, sleep, Mario Maker, and now it's like we're doing too much. Don't even have time for that game. But all right. So what is Tech Talk? So this Tech Talk is actually going to be a little different. So this is copy pasted from previous slides generally, but it's a bi-weekly show that we'll do a semi deep dive into the services that we run here at Warp World. We use it to shine some light on our behind the scenes talent. That's why Saturn's here. We talk about the service, what the philosophy is around the service, our goals with it, the problems the services might solve if it has, challenges we face, how we feel we accomplish this sort of stuff, future features and ideas. We're going into some technical details for you nerds out there. We really like to kind of give you guys insight into our decisions and things. And then obviously we always want to end with a general Q&A around the service and Warp World in general. But as I mentioned, this Tech Talk's a little different. This week is actually going to be part 1 of a 2-part episode, potentially 3, probably not though. Let's hope not. But there will be more crowd control in the future. But the idea is today's going to be more of a deep dive in the history because there's just so much to go over. And when we started putting these slides together, we did not realize how much has gone into crowd control in the last 3-4 years. Taking a bird's eye view of it, we really were like, wow, we feel like we have accomplished a lot. And like, because we've been so close to it and just so head deep in it, we'd never really been able to take a step back. And so there was just no way we were able to do this in one
nonstop
part.
thing.
So,
we never stop working on it. It's always constantly going. So like, yeah.
And speaking of what is crowd control, and I'll let one of you two explain crowd control because I think I've done it a million times, and I'm sure you have as well. But love to hear your insight into what crowd control is.
Here, I got this one. Crowd control is the #1 bits making extension on all of Twitch. What it allows you to do is it allows the streamer to have an incredibly unique experience with their audience, with the fact that the audience can alter the gameplay live during the stream, and that could include everything from adding and taking away items to flipping the screen entirely or killing the player outright. There is really, the limit is only to the imagination of us and other developers who work on games for crowd control, which is really, really fun. It works seamlessly and quickly, and part of the best parts about it.
Yeah, great. And that really just you explained it, and so we're just gonna go right into the timeline just because like this is, like I said, there's a lot to go over, and so we're gonna switch over to the fancy timeline here. So interactive gaming to the next level. This is the beginning of crowd control, and so let's go to the very first bit race. So if you don't know, Twitch it was not called crowd control in the beginning. Sakura Tsubasa, she along with Cat Dev Games, showed this off on her channel in, I believe, December 30th, 2017. This was the first look of what bit races, soon to be crowd control, was. Like, this was an insane time, and like, I don't know if it shows in the slides, but the way they interacted was through Twitch chat, and like that was the best you had in 2017, really, for anything like this. It was really cool though. Like, it was the next level of gaming. We all saw something like this is going to be coming, and like this was the first like real look at what it is. And it was called bit races, but at the time that was a single person. And so it later on, Next slide. We thank you. The first bit race happened, and this was February 15th. I'm not exactly sure. I can't read. I think it was Willard and Sabasa on that. But this was the first bit race on speed gaming that used on the speed gaming channel. And rumor has it that one could not read the chat for days after this first race because of how many commands and effects had been sent. They're only rumors. There may have been rumors started by some crazy ginger guy with a hat. We don't know. The world will we'll never know. But this was really.
I hear they're still spamming exclamation point free in chat to this day.
I you know what they do? They absolutely did at the start of crowd control, and it's definitely died down a bit. But yeah, it was chaos, and like that was that's what was really fun about it. But it was also really hard for beginners, and just for chat to go on during that sort of stuff. So like there has to obviously be a better way. But I think this was a lot of people's first view of it on this channel, and so. Pooh, I know you were very much involved in some of the, before we get into the acquiring, but I know Pooh, you were involved with some of the early races and stuff, and you had done a few yourself. So
I think I was actually part of the next bit race right after that one. And that led to me and Kat talking quite frequently about things, about bit races, because the very first time I did it, I was like, holy God, this is so fun, B unique, C like valuable for everyone, because what's more fun for the audience than to actually be a part of the content instead of just watching the content? You're actually physically a part of the content, right? In those aspects. And it just after that, I was like, hey Kat, can you make Super Mario World? And he did, and then we did another race with Mario World, and it just kind of kept going where me and Kat just I just started to talk about like see all these possibilities that could come around. And I remember talking to you about it too, like, hey, there's this really cool thing that's going on, but it's incredibly difficult to set up. It's clogging up chat, which makes it impossible to have a regular stream. And it, there's just these certain issues with it. Like, you think this is something that we could help with, we could step in and help with, and make it really great. And
yeah,
I think that brings us to the next slide.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and one of the things something that was happening during this time as well is when OneUpCoin was really getting its legs on Twitch. We had the same. We had OneUpCoin had just launched in 2017, late 2017, and in April, May, June, basically OneUpCoin was doing very well, and we were looking at other things, and like who said, he reached out to me. It's like, is there something that we should be able to do? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's see what we can do. And we were able to get a chat with Kat, and they were great talking with. We wanted to make sure that we retained the essence of bit races with this sort of thing, and we had so many chats with them to make sure that there was a clear fit. And like, Warp World never wants to just take something from somebody. We want to make sure that, like, at the end of the day, it's still within their vision. And
their vision.
And luckily our visions aligned with us and Kat, and it's been an amazing friendship and a business relationship. They became our first official Warp World employee. But it was a huge time, and like, so that was July. We made a press release. Moni, I think, put this graphic together with their logo and like our stuff, and like, hey, shut up, Nintendo. I don't know what you're talking about. It's completely legit graphics. Nobody stole them from you. And like, it was like 2018 seems so long ago, and yet it was only 3 years ago. But like, we've gone so far from what this is now to where we are. And so, July is when we acquired it. And so like, there were still, I think, some races happening here and there, but there was obviously there was a decrease. I know. And so like, we were hard at work. So from July to October is when we ended up releasing the new, what we now call crowd control. October 1st release. We formerly known as Bit Races. One reason for the name change, Twitch doesn't like the name bit in extensions, which makes sense. You know, that's their copyright. But at the end of the day, like crowd control, like I remember us coming up with so many names. Our Discord, like it was weeks of us coming up with names.
Weeks, just
And-
names. Like the only messages were just names. It'd be like all of us, X-Water, Cat, and like it would just be like nothing but just like names coming down, you know, coming down the pipeline. And I think actually, you know, what's funny is I think someone in my Discord said crowd control about something else, and then
Oh my God.
I dropped it in ours, and it just exploded.
That's
We were
how
like,
he's been
"That's
naming
it."
stuff. He's been outsourcing
Right.
I just
Right.
outsourcing it. That's what I do, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really funny. It's like we had controller. Like we had so many ideas, insert coin, and we're like, yeah, it's not like so many names were like just they didn't fit. They didn't fit. And like when you said crowd control, I think everyone was just like, yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
There was like
As soon as that popped in, it was a big deal. Yeah. I think everyone
but
just clicked for everyone.
Yeah, what's funny about it though, more than anything, was it did take us so long to get there to such an obvious place, honestly. Like, you know, it is the obvious name, like hindsight. But it did take us it did take us a good amount of time to get there. Which is really funny. And
Same with the wrench too. Like the wrench.
Yeah.
We had a lot of brain sessions over the wrench, and that's always been the favorite of our team. But you know,
yeah, the wrench is something that we worked on the design of the logo a few times. It went through a lot of different versions. It's not the best logo, I think we can all agree, but like it was something that we needed. And the new versions, it keeps that essence, but it looks fresh. It looks very unique, and we're probably, I think we have a screenshot of that. But like, yeah, we weren't the best at graphics originally, but we were working on function. For
everyone
sure.
had skills. You know, everyone has multiple skills on our team. That's what makes it. That's what makes this fun.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to find our Discord to see if I can find any of the failed names, but the search is failing. Because
we went through a lot of them. We went through a lot of them that were alliteration based, because we do with Warp World, we do like alliteration in our names. So a lot of them were I'm trying to even think of some of the rejected ones, or some of the ones we were kind of thinking. I remember controller was like a real. We really had controller like stuck in our head for a while.
Sure.
We did.
We had, because we wanted like control, like troll would be one of the main words in it. Which is probably, hindsight, was probably a good idea that we didn't do it, because we don't want people to only troll with this, even though that's going to be, you know, most users' defaults. Yeah. So that was we had a lot of troll based names, you know. Yeah. It's funny how far you're going back. As much as we talk in that Discord, it's going to be so buried.
It's insane. Like I do find Moni's in chat, and like insert coin extension, like this is 12/30/2019, and she's still
insert
talking about how
coin.
she hates it.
What, insert coin or crowd control?
Insert coin is one that she hated, but I think that was a name for there's so much.
Was that a OneUpCoin name?
No, it was around crowd control.
Insert coin is a good name for OneUp though.
It is.
That is a really good name for OneUpCoin.
Yeah. It's funny how some of them, like, that's the other thing, is like a few of our services could swap their names in various ways, and it's like interesting. But hold on. Grim. Okay, here we go. We got viewer control, chat roller, warp control, bite controller, bite flip, stack attack, chip bite, bite chipper, bite shift, rush race, chat boost.
Some of these made no sense.
No, we were just throwing stuff at the wall. Player versus chat, which a lot, like Twitch for like streamer versus chat has become a thing. Insert change. Chat player 2. Like, we were just throwing ideas at things. To like, not gonna call out anyone with the, I don't even know who this person is in our Discord here. They got a weird name. I don't remember them. That's how long ago it was. There's people that like have changed their name, but like we were just throwing stuff out there to see what could stick and whatnot. This was a group effort. It was pretty cool. But you know, we ultimately came up with a name, and we released it October 1st. We had X Water kick it off. We had Andy followed up, then Pooh and Ryukar, and like it crashed on Pooh's channel, and then it crashed on Ryukar's. Or I think we fixed it in time for Ryukar's, but like it was a great launch. And it was a fun time. But you know, literally that same month was another first for Warp World. We were able to go over to Twitchcon 2018 with the team. It was our first official outing as a team, like at a conference. A lot of us met for the first time there. I believe, yeah, I think that was the first time a lot of us met Kat in person.
Yes, definitely.
We had some showcases where we had a few streamers come on and stream at our couch. Our booth was heavily inspired by your grandmother's basement in the 1980s.
Great booth.
It was so much fun. What was great about it too is like the next year at 2019 TwitchCon, there was 2 or 3 booths that copied our style from the previous year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was something that I really love. I wish we had a picture of the booth because it was really like, especially at that time, we were doing this from the, you know, like we were bootstrapping everything because you know we still don't, but we were maxing out the dollar bills that we had at that particular time, you know, with everything that was going on. And to make that booth was something that we're really proud of. George Clooney, well, formerly George Clooney Cream, was there we go. Yes, yeah.
Nice.
She designed it. Lexi designed it and got all these things put together and drove it in a U-Haul up to us. And then did it again the next year for another booth. But this was I think this was just like a really, really special moment because I think this was the moment that, like, this particular moment right here was when we went from a hobby to a company, like a legit, like, this is going to work thing.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And like you mentioned, it was, you know, it was an action. It was just like it was the first time we really realized this is it. This is what we're doing now for sure. And people showed up to the booth, and that was the greatest thing is like people actually attended, and had a great time. And so like it really showed, like we were really able to show the power off of crowd control to a lot of new people.
Yeah. And we were also like,
Kat.
yeah, at TwitchCon, there was, what do I want to say? I mean, we were the only, like, what do I want to say? Like, by streamers thing at that particular TwitchCon, you know?
Yeah.
It was nothing else. Like, it was all big companies, and then us just kind of plopped in there doing it ourselves. And I think that really helped us stand out a lot in that particular event, because everyone would walk by our booth, and like every other booth was like nice white RGB lights, like everything else. And we were going for, because we only had old school games to show off to it this time as well. We were going for that grandma's basement vibe, and yeah, that was a special moment. I really look fondly upon that TwitchCon.
Yeah, three games we launched with. And so, you know, after 2018 comes 2019, and Adventures of M. This is the first appearance of crowd control technology that was used to power an interactive story on Twitch, for a show that has won, you know, me and many Warp World team members their first Emmy. So
right over there, pretty crazy.
Yeah, mine's behind me. But like at the end of the day, like this was, so if you've ever seen a show like Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer, there's this crowd interaction in it, but it's all fake. There, you know, it's like the Steve guy will be like, "Where's Blue?" And you hear kids in the audience be like, "Over there." And he's like, "Over there," and you're like, "Yeah." And like kids at home scream at their TVs. I think Saturn can attest to that. And all of them that are not named Jaku, by the way.
Or just screaming in general, but yeah. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So like there's this fake, like they're in control, and like the kids. That's the other thing is like, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna set you up. Like the kids, when they do respond, they usually respond with the real answer, the truth, right? Like they don't troll them,
Sure. Right.
right? So
They
like
attempt to
they
interact.
think that,
Yes.
yeah, they actually attempt to interact and help, which says a lot about children. Like their first instinct is to help, not to troll. In these cases, but like at the end of the day, the show's technically trolling them by acting like their answer actually meant something. With Adventures of M, viewers and children alike were in control with Twitch extensions and powered by crowd control and things like that. And so like it was the first of its kind where like kids could actually interact live and change the story, because it was set up like a turn your own, choose your own adventure book. And like kids could be like, let's take them to space. And now the actors that are improv actors with these puppets have to go to space. And the space rocks are my favorite. Although Beep and Boop Pop were amazing as well. All right.
Yes. I was say I remember
so
there was a point where I used to watch it with my kids, and like they would actually be surprised that the answer that they said would actually happen, which was crazy. Especially when with Beep and Bop. Is that what the name was? I forgot.
Yeah, Beep and Bop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love those guys.
They were great.
And then like, so that was January. You know, we did a lot in between. A lot. We're not going to really focus so much on the release of games, because like there's just so many. We've gone from 30 games to, or 3 games to 50 games at this point.
I'm going to mention a few as we go along, but they're not officially in the list.
Yeah. So
those
next, like,
first 3 carried us for a while, though. Those first 3 were
but they were good. They were good staple games. But the next like big change or point in our timeline is GrandPooBear Sessions. And I alluded to this when he was doing his introduction, but Pooh, you had this amazing event that you did all across America, and utilized crowd control at some of them. So why don't you tell the chat about the sessions a little bit more and how we use crowd control in a completely different environment?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I love about crowd control, and one of the things that got me immediately hooked and wanted to be a part of it, was the way it allowed the crowd to interact. So now I have this event with a live crowd. I mean, how great would it be if the crowd there physically could alter the game? And then it even brings it to this next level, because instead of you seeing like the person in chat screwing you can actually see the exact person, give them a cheers, you know what I mean, as they mess up your game, and let it go. So the first one we actually did this at was the MGM Grand crowd control in or speedrun sessions in Las Vegas.
So soon it will be called the crowd control.
crowd control. Like, hey, title
MGM
sponsor,
Grand
baby.
crowd control.
Title sponsor. The MGM crowd control. Yeah, I mean that'd be a great name for it. They can afford it. MGM can afford it. Which was, first of all, just an amazing weekend. Shout out to MGM Grand. They treated us like absolute kings when we were there. So we got to give a shout out to them. But it was an incredible experience. We got to give another shout out to Simple Flips, of course, because he was the one. He was our
Flips.
Yeah, he was our guinea pig. Yeah, he was our guinea pig for this particular event, and it was just really fun.
His hosting as well.
Xwater was hosting it. Yeah, absolutely. Xwater was hosting it. Not only that, Xwater was going around with like an iPad tablet, and letting people put in their effects. So basically, the idea was you buy a drink, you show your receipt, you can get an effect. Since then, we've come up with many better ways to do it live in person, but this was the first time we had done it, and that was the best way we could think of doing it. So it was incredibly fun. The idea of the run was the crowd versus Simple Flips, and so we put a hard cap timer on it and see who could win, and it just went over amazingly. So now it's become, especially when we know we're going to have a nice large crowd, a staple at the Speedrun Sessions event, because who doesn't want to, and it adds that next layer of interaction And that's kind of what works on Twitch. Like that's what people really want. They want that interaction and that kind of like not possession of their content, but they want to feel a bit of ownership of their fandom. You know what I mean? And this gives them a wonderful opportunity to do that. And so it's just been, it was wonderful. It was super fun to watch too, because not only that, like they put in a few extra effects that I hadn't seen and Simple Flips hadn't seen yet. We put in effects, to Red Bull is obviously a main sponsor of it. So we put in, like it's a drink a Red Bull effect, and then Mario gets wings and flies all over the place. It's great. Since then we've done it at LAPalooza, where Andy had the longest run of all time. Poor guy had to go like 4 hours at LAPalooza. People were messing with him, and then we did one at Toronto as well, at Speedrun Sessions Toronto. And that one was really good. It was me and Mitch Flowerpower doing SMB3, and that had another Red Bull shout out in there too. So if you've never seen the SMB3 crowd control, you definitely have to check it out once. Because it's a really, really good one.
Yeah. The live aspect of it is awesome. And like we had seen some of the live aspect at TwitchCon, with people attending the booth being able to choose an effect and having it activate. But like the Wi-Fi and the internet at TwitchCon that year was a little spotty. So this was a lot better version of that. And like it's mind blowing. Like it's one thing to watch Twitch chat and choose an effect and have it happen. It's another to have a screen in front of you live, choose it and see it happen instantly. It allows for so much more control. And
we kind of didn't describe what exactly we did either. So we had a secondary app on your phone where you could choose an effect that way.
Not on this one.
Not on this one.
Yeah, LAPalooza.
I think that was Toronto. Right. I think that LAPalooza.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
And LAPalooza.
Yeah,
we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah. I was about to talk about control. And speaking of control, it works with more than just games. Like
this one was
allowed.
I remember.
You got it.
This is when I thought we might be going too far, but this was great.
Right. That's when we'll remember that we're working with Jaku. Like, oh right, Jaku's here.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we controlled a Tesla with crowd control. Myself, DJ Cliche Darkness, Cliffy, and I want to say it was Cliffy's brother. We all went up to GDQ 1 year, and we live streamed it. And why not live stream it with crowd control support? And this allowed Twitch chat to do such things as roll down the windows, increase the heat, change the volume, change the music, open the sunroof, honk the horn. And fever dreams, you usually sweat in fever dreams, but we were definitely sweating in the car because it got up to like 115 Fahrenheit. And it was just crazy. But that was the first time we showed off crowd control for more than just a game. And it's been used a few times for some other charity events with a bit more restrictions in place.
Yes.
I like to push the envelope, but
right.
Lawyers are like, hey, restrict that a little. I'm like, okay, fine.
I was on a plane watching Jaku's stream, and I just was terrified about everything that was happening. I remember I'm just watching him drive to GDQ, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I hope they don't honk the horn with like a cop in front of them at a light, and then just the crowd just like, the whole time. Like,
we were in a White Castle drive-through, and like they took forever, and we were in line for like 30 minutes. They honked the horn no less than 60 times at $1 a honk.
I was gonna say we learned some lessons off of that first stream. That's for sure.
We've got a clip. It looks like. Oh, this is a test.
It's muted though. So.
Well,
the whole thing was just the whole thing was incredible.
Yeah.
Heat driver seats. That's what's happening.
And that is and you know what? And it is a supported feature to this day. So
yeah. So obviously not everyone's gonna have a Tesla though, and like at the end of the day, one of the things that we really like to do with crowd control is help out events. We think events, like, it started not for an event, but like Bitraces with speed gaming, it became like an event, like a weekly event on their channel. And one of the well-known events in speedrunning is the European Speedrunning Assembly. And so like we were able to partner with them in July 2019 to have one of the first real charity events with crowd control live over in Sweden. And so, like myself and Kat, we went over to Sweden and we helped set it up. And I think it was TGH running Link to the Past. And like we had implemented like this was really fun because we had a lot of stuff done, but programmers are never really done, and there's always constantly tweaking, and like there's like over preparing for events. I wouldn't say we over prepare. We prepare as much as we need to, but like you get paranoid. And so like me and Kat were like, we had all week, and we're going through all these scenarios and testing all these things and building like these last minute tools and things, and like hooking up with their alert system and stuff. And it was a blast. But that was the first time we introduced variable pricing as well.
Yep.
So like as effects got purchased, the price would go up, and then as they didn't get purchased, they would go back down to their original starting point, because there's no way you could have Kill Link at $10 and get through a charity event with thousands of people watching. Like people would just literally spam that. And at the end of the day, you do want to try to complete the game, and you want people that are watching to still have a good time, because if it's 20 minutes of non-death, like it's funny to a few people, but it gets old to a lot of people. And so that was really a big step for us, is being shown off at an event, working with an event organizer, and having this variable pricing. It was very important to us, and so we've done a lot more events since then, and we're getting to that. But again, LAPalooza, we got a little ahead of ourselves. But as PoohBear mentioned, we had the tablet solution for the first GrandPooBear sessions in Las Vegas, and as Saturn mentioned, we were allowing people to do it on their phones. So we worked out a new system that it was a polling system basically that allowed people to choose effects every so often, and they would get a randomized list of effects so that they could just pull out their phone to choose an effect and see it happen live. And that was a great time. It was LAPalooza, so it's Chicago, so I didn't have to go anywhere. It was one of the first events where I'm like, oh, I can just go downtown. This is great. But like being able to say we performed at LAPalooza, like that's an insane feat.
That was wild.
Like
it's a big deal.
Yeah,
that could have been my odd fact, for the like, and that's an odd fact for all of us. We're not musicians, we're not performers in that right. And like it's interesting to say, yeah, well, I was at LAPalooza, I performed, I had a performer's badge or whatever. I was backstage a few times, and like it's crazy.
We definitely, what do I want to say? It was easy to find us in that particular crowd all the time. We all suck out a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, but that was a really great opportunity. And it also shows like for that particular one, Red Bull very specifically asked for crowd control. And they have at other events too, and it kind of just shows well it interacts with those particular things, because if you're a company and you want us to do crowd control with it, we're gonna make it special for you in some ways. Like you're gonna be involved. We're gonna hit you with a surprise, and they always knew that we would bring them something really fun. So that's it's been a great thing to work with. And yeah, who knows, man, if we can get another LAPalooza this year, who knows,
Yeah. Following up, from August to September, Mario's Masters Coliseum. This is another big event put on by GrandPooBear. So, I'll let you explain this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, Campy is the mastermind behind the Coliseum series. Years ago, Campy came to me and was like, "Hey, do you think we could do an all Mario event?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!" And it developed into this really, really special, basically adult sleepover, like camp out type event. You know what I mean? We just get as many Mario players as we can, throw them in a house, and let them go crazy. And of course, crowd control is now become a very big staple of that particular event as well. Andy, I think it was Andy. Yeah, Andy was the first one who did the that particular run, right? I believe Andy did it, and I just I think like Andy did it with Patty commentating it, and
Yeah,
I
I think so.
remember I don't think I've ever laughed so hard at that particular event is just watching Andy physically squirm while Patty's just in his ear mocking him over every troll that the chat throws their way.
He gets to do it again too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but MMC, I mean, always a good time hanging out with friends, and like being able to use crowd control was a blast. And like the setup for it was so much fun as well, because we had to do some magic to get it working. Because again, I think we've talked about this before on the podcast, but like the internet at every single MMC has not been the best in the world. But we've made do.
It's so bad. Like I don't think we've ever had more than 5 upload at there.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So this was also a really busy time for me. So like TwitchCon, we did go to TwitchCon in 2019 as well, and we had a booth, but you know, we've already talked about TwitchCon. And I think TwitchCon happened, and then so TwitchCon was the previous week. Then it was Mario Masters Coliseum. And then literally the next week was Tokyo Game Show. We got to go to Tokyo Game Show. Myself and Saturn here.
What? Yeah, that happened.
How?
That was insane, right? Right. How did that happen?
Yeah, like a year ago we launched this thing. Not even a year, 11 months. We launched crowd control in October 2018, and 11 months later we were at Tokyo Game Show showing off Bloodstained support with the producer Koji playing it and getting trolled by chat. It was just like, what is this?
Was on a stage at Tokyo Game Show playing crowd control. It was insane.
Yeah, like a man that's been responsible for a lot of the great Castlevania games since Symphony of the Night. Like he was involved as a programmer on there, and like he's like the essence of the Castlevania series at this point, and like a legend in the gaming space. And whip and all, he's playing crowd control. And like, how do we go from 3 games to this in less than a year? It was just incredible. But it was a great time. You know, I got to talk with, you know, I got to hang out with Saturn in Japan and all that stuff. This seems wrong. November 27th wasn't TwitchCon.
But it's okay.
October.
Yeah,
we'll let it go. We'll let it go.
No, it was Mario Masters, and then I think it was December 27th. It was so it was December 27th is the problem, because it was before MMC.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So we did have 2019.
Either way.
This was again another live interaction. We had Lobos Jr. playing Dark Souls with crowd control at the
Alienware booth. Yeah.
Yeah. Another crazy thing. Like we got involved with Alienware.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just incredible times. Just again,
lots
like
of things happening
all
at
these,
the end of 2019.
All these opportunities in like a month. And then, you know, this next thing was a big thing that we had been working on all of 2019. Our goal was to get to GDQ, and help raise money for the charities and use crowd control. And
something I should say right here, not to interrupt you, but like, because we didn't really touch on this, but one of the main goals when we first got, you know, like when we first linked up with Kat, and something that me and like all of us on the team have always talked about is the want to support charities with this, because we totally recognize how wonderful this is for charities. And this, so it was a lot harder than we actually realized it was going to be, to interact with it and make sure that, you know, we're never touching the money. It always goes right to the charities right away. You know what I mean? And all those things. And so to get to this point was that was like so incredible for us. It definitely felt like that first mountain that we had to climb, you know what I mean? And getting over it and planting our flag on that, you know, was that GDQ run.
Yep.
Yeah. And yeah, this was so much work for our entire team. Like there were sleepless nights again.
Yeah. I'll say we came into 2019 with this goal specifically. Like we didn't know if we would get here, but this was our goal for 2019. And basically everything we did in crowd control at the time had that background notion, like, could this work for GDQ? And like that was kind of the way we pushed forward with everything at that point.
Yeah.
Just to be able to, because we all know GDQ gets the most insane numbers on Twitch.
Yeah.
So like, how could we anyway support something like that? So that was always in the background with everything we were doing at that point.
I mean, we worked with so many people from the Link to the Past randomizer team for getting pricing right. You know, Kat had spent a few nights with the team that was at GDQ to go over pricing and get the scaling right. We had done numerous testing. We've reached out to Twitch multiple times to like, hey, make sure your backend's increased on this. And like, it wasn't until the day of the event that one of them's like, oh yeah, we should do this. I will call somebody. So like, and even then it wasn't enough. But it was just
our stuff ran great. Our stuff ran great, by the way. And it took Twitch probably an hour into the run to catch up with what was happening at that point. Because there was some issues at the beginning, but eventually things caught up and things ran smooth. Like the second half of the run, everything was really smooth, I think.
Yeah. The first 10 minutes of like, there was a small like reset bug in the first 10-20 minutes. But after like that was nothing compared to like what could have gone wrong. And I remember being on the couch with Patty and Andy, why can't I emo? We were all like, I think all of us in the back of our heads like, we just gotta get through like 20 minutes and we'll be good. And we did. We really did. That one, like I said,
the initial surge.
Yeah. It was just like, we just gotta get through this and it'll be fine. And it was so much fun. But I had my laptop on that couch still, just in case Kat needed help. And Kat was behind the TV, like, and I could see their eyes looking through, and like we'd look at each other every now and then be like, things are okay. It was the craziest time.
And I was at home doing all the rest of the stuff and making sure effects triggered and things were refunded, all that kind of good stuff. The servers were on fire, and I had a hose on them the whole time. It was crazy.
It was
that's how I pictured it too.
Right.
Because I mean, we can do a lot of testing. We can get a lot of big streamers to do a lot of testing. Like that's one thing. But there is no way to test for 200,000 people using it at one single time. And that's because that's how it works. You know, when you start a crowd control, everyone in chat gets their free coins right away. So it was just something that, you know, I remember the nerves, like everyone's nerves leading up to it, you know, just who knows, you know, but it was great.
Numerous meetings with GDQ, like, are you sure your tech's good? And like, they were like, they have technical problems. And like, this is our first time doing an event this big. And like, they've worked through their problems. So they're like, this is what we do. Are you sure your stuff's, we're like, we've done as much testing as we can. And like, we threw random effects at things. But the problem with random effects, they're not as good as human effects. Like random effects might get a few configurations right here and there, but humans are evil. They know what effects like can cause. It's chaos. So like it going through was great. It was a wonderful time. And speaking of a wonderful time, we got to return. I got to return back to Japan to now do a crowd control wonderful 101 for a Kickstarter, like with Platinum Games. Like this was to celebrate the success of the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter. And we helped raise enough money during the stream to get the extra soundtrack and the extra Kickstarter bonuses that they didn't get. This is also during like the start of the Corona pandemic.
I was gonna say, look at that date, March 1st.
Yeah, it was like the team was
I remember we were worried about you going to Japan.
Yeah. They were worried about me going to Japan. I'm like, this is such an opportunity. Like, if I don't go, we're not going to have it. And like, I was literally on the last flight out of Japan before like they were going to be doing like weird lockdowns. And part of me wishes I just stayed, because being stuck in Japan might not be so bad. I could get Saturn some waifu pillows. But at the end of the day, I got back to America safely and soundly. But like, it was just like, it was an insane time. And like, being among those people, like this is now less than 6 months from having Iga play Bloodstain. We got I'm in Platinum Games headquarters. It was just like, what is this? Again,
Yeah.
we are continuing to be blown out of the water with like what's been happening with this stuff. And then, all of that led to something that Pooh had touched on earlier, is something big in all of our hearts and something that we love to do. And it's working with charities. And so we worked with St. Jude and Tiltify to release the first official crowd control charity version of the extension, where all coin purchases 100% go through Tiltify. We don't get in the middle of the transactions. There's no bits to exchange. It's all your donations exchanged 1-to-1 for coins. And to release announce this release, we kicked off a 6 to 12 hour stream with GrandPooBear as the first streamer on there, to help raise money for the kids. I think you did Mario World.
Yep, we did. I did start of the Mario World. We had Mario World, Link to the Past, Pokemon Red and Blue, I think was the finale game.
Yep.
I want to say 64 was involved as well.
I think
I
so.
can't even
Like
remember
Dark
all
Souls.
this. Yeah,
SMB3.
yeah. Lobos played Dark
Yep.
Souls.
Yep.
It was an incredible day, an incredible event. It's something that was really exciting for us to be able to finally, make it so streamers could just, with no middleman, nothing else. They could just go in. I want to raise money for St. Jude. Startup crowd control. I'm raising money for St. Jude, and that was something that was really, really exciting for us. And it's really easy to connect into your existing, into like everything you're doing on Tiltify as well. So if you have more stuff planned that day, it's all going to go on the same campaign. It was huge. Yeah, it was such a huge moment because we were just so excited to do it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like the we had been trying to reach that point, and we were finally able to do it, and with the help of St. Jude. And we're doing another St. Jude marathon this year, April 30th, starting around 2 Pacific, I think. Who you're running it, so maybe and it's going to be a 24-hour crowd control event.
I'm starting I'm starting and finishing, so I should know. No,
yeah,
we just announced that. That just got announced right then. Way to go. Usually this is me that does that. Usually it's
normally
me
I thought we'd announced
stuff
this
earlier.
All right.
No.
Well, yeah, normally Pooh leaks things, but
usually I'm the leaker.
Yeah, we can touch on this a little bit because like it's one of the it's Monday. This is a sneak peek for all you guys here.
There you go.
Me and Moni were talking and we're like, how do we make an event even better than last year? I'm like, what if we make them do 24 hours? And I think she thought I meant like all of them in a room, 24 hours, all by themselves. And I'm like, no, I'm not that evil. But I'm like, no, like, last year Pooh did a great job starting it. And like, he didn't like, obviously he saw the success of it and he saw the end of it. But I felt that it was like, you did a lot to boost it at the beginning. Why not wrap back around for you to also end it? It just seems like, I don't know. It seemed like a fun idea. It also gave you things to do. No, it was good. I like it. I like the idea of it. Yeah, it's important. It's for the kids. So you guys are gonna love it. We put a lot of work into it again. You're gonna love the lineup. I won't tell you everyone else.
And shout outs to St. Jude because they kind of helped guide us through the whole initial setup of connecting with Tiltify and all that kind of stuff. So
they were the partner we needed. I mean, obviously everyone knows who St. Jude is in the charity space, but they were the partner we needed to really kickstart that. You know what I mean? To really get us the connections and the not the motivation because we were already motivated to do it, but kind of the fast track. It definitely made it a lot faster. Working with St. Jude to make that happen because it was a goal that we had from the outset.
And we can say that was a direct result of our GDQ run because that's what caused them to know that we were there.
Reach out.
So
yep. And so this was April 30th, 2020. We started supporting St. Jude literally that day. We now support 11 charities to date, and more are being added like every week. Like it's great. It's so much fun. We're working with Tiltify to get them more charities added every day. 2020 was an interesting year for a lot of people, and so we have, you know, we're going to skip all the way to November because there's some games releases and stuff, but we're going to go all the way to November. Channel points. Finally, we brought channel points to crowd control. Not because we didn't want to, but because there was no way to do it easily without Twitch providing the APIs. And like, I could rant on this for days. I really could. But we had known about it for a few weeks. We had worked on a lot of different versions. We did some testing. We found that the best way to do it was just to implement a 3-tier system currently, just so that people can get the hang of it and figure out how it works and make sure that there's no surprises when it comes to going to different channels, just like bit price conversion, coin conversion static. And so you're able to exchange your channel points for crowd control coins so that those users that might not have bits to spend or are on smaller channels where, you know, streamers don't necessarily receive bits all the time, can still participate. And the idea
we get
that is like
we got a ton of channel point requests up until this point too.
Yeah, that's true. It was like every other week somebody like, when are you going to do channel points? It's like when Twitch allows us to. Like, it's not us. We'd love to do it. No,
and I'm sure we had some
Twitch.
hack ideas in place too, but
we did.
There's no official way to do it with extensions.
Yeah.
And I mean that is part of the goal though, with that, like channel points. Like if the streamer wants to allow we want to let the streamer use crowd control how they want to use it. And that's something that's really huge for us. You know, we let them price however they want. We don't set their prices. If they want to use channel points, we don't get anything from that. We don't care. We want the streamer to be able to use how they want it. All of our products how they want it, because we understand that it's important. And every stream is very unique, and every streamer is going to be different in how they approach their community and what works for them. And that level of customization is something that we always take very serious and you know, want to keep including in everything we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And like, look, we want to have the customization, and we, like I said, the prices are static for channel points, but like it is something we are looking to do where you can adjust them and change those, because the UI for changing channel points on Twitch is not the best, because like it's not there. So there's a few things that we're waiting on, and we're tweaking. We're always constantly listening to feedback, because as Pooh said, like, we want to make it better. We want to customize it for streams. We understand some people have a lot less viewers, some people have a lot more viewers, some people don't want channel points, just like when we introduced sub coins on the extension. And I think that was in January of 2020. Actually, we introduced sub coins. It's all optional. The streamer is able to turn them on or off. It's not like we're forcing them. But at the end of the day, lots of decisions come into crowd control and all of our products where we're like, we really think ahead of the game a little bit, and we think about like, what are the needs? And one of the things that, like, with channel points, nobody knows the amount of channel points on their channel specifically, how many are out there. And like, I'm looking to Twitch to kind of give those statistics to the streamers, just not a breakdown per user, but just a, hey, GrandPooBear, you have 50 million channel points accrued on your channel in total, just so you have a ballpark idea of like what to price things at, because right now you're kind of lost. And it's interesting. But, you know, literally right after channel points, Glitchcon. Warp World was a big part of Glitchcon, but we actually helped build a game during Twitch called, it was Let's Build a Game event, working with Code HQ. We built a game with Twitch chat where they got to decide on certain aspects of the game. Like, is this a top-down shooter? Is this a, you know, what's the main character? What kind of weapons do they use? What are the power-up types? Things like that. And then like the game was updated based on those decisions. Viewers were able to place enemies and power-ups throughout the level dynamically before the level loaded. And then the streamer went through and played this new game that was built by Twitch chat. And so like, it was all powered by crowd control. It was an insane time. You know, we didn't get to do TwitchCon because of COVID, but GlitchCon was like the online version of that, and it was so much fun. It was just like, wow, this is really cool. And it's given us so many new ideas for what we can do with crowd control in the future with the dynamic thing. I think we call it pre-gaming right now, is the official inside term. I don't know if people are going to like that.
I love
then
that
also
term.
we did the there was also a speedrun event that we basically managed for the most part. That was Dark Souls.
Dark Souls
1 and 2.
With 6 streamers?
1 and 3, I mean, sorry.
Yeah. Nobody plays 2.
6.
I think it was 6 streamers or 4. Maybe it was
6
4.
sounds correct.
Yeah, it was 6 because it was a race.
Yeah, and then there was the 7th person who, whoever won had to do it on a DDR pad at the end.
Yeah, like that was a lot of fun.
Which
We
is fun.
showed off a few new effects on that.
I commentated that. I totally forgot.
Yep, you were there.
We did commentate that.
I was there.
You were there. And then finally, the last event of 2020 was the St. Jude partnership with the Game Theorist, the Game Theory $1 million challenge for St. Jude. This was a different implementation of crowd control. It was all just based on the donation amounts sent through Tiltify, and it affected Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't remember the exact game, but it was like super custom night, I believe. And
Sounds right.
we had just about an hour of this event time. There were so many things going on. There were so many YouTubers part of this event, and we had 1 hour with a few people running it, and we brought in over $500,000 in total during that 1 hour for this event. And I think they raised over 3.2 million. I don't know off the top of my head, but like this was just what a way to end 2020. Like, not the greatest year for a lot of people individually. Not a bad year for Warp World, and like just such a positive way to end it. Though it was, being involved with these people and St. Jude again, it was just like, wow, we've gone so far.
This was a unique one too, because it was our first time really doing anything with Friday Night at Freddy's. It was all YouTube, which was new. So we had to rethink how to integrate and how to get people to send effects. There's a lot of new stuff, new challenges that go into making this. It was fun. It was a crazy hour.
Yeah, it was completely custom.
Yeah. And you guys need to, like, when we're saying this, like, it's like 3 to 4 guys that are really hardcore working on these at any given time. You know, we're an extremely small company, and a quarter of us don't even code, which falls on the laps of these two more often than not. You know, it's not a giant team that's doing these challenges. You know what I mean? It's a couple guys out there really banging it out, which is most amazing.
That's a good point. It's actually
Cat.
I was in conversation with a dev, another dev on Twitch the other day, and they thought that Warp World was a team of 50 people. And that just we're not that. We're 10 times we're 10 times less than that
5
for like programmers. Yeah, it's like 5.
Yeah.
So like that, I think that really just goes to show like how much we put into this stuff. And like it's not because it's because we want to see things succeed, and we love what we do. We got really passionate people, and it's something that's near and dear to our hearts. It's something that we want to leave a mark on gaming. Like, you know, Saturn, you know, I've known him for basically a lot of my life, and like to be able to do something that impacts the world this much, I would have never thought. The shenanigans that I used to get him into, like I'm sure he thought he was going to go into prison, and now he's here helping, you know, St. Jude's St. Jude raise millions of dollars. Like, such a dynamic change from what we did as children.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if like everything, if Warp World dies tomorrow, just the amount of money we've raised for charity is just like one of those things that will live on with me forever. Just how much charity we've raised. Even like my grandma, like of all people, she really loves St. Jude, and like whenever I talk about how we work with St. Jude, she gets all excited. Like it's a special thing right there. So
yeah, I don't know what else to say about that sort of stuff. Like we're getting very emotional, but
we put a lot of work into this stuff. We do. I mean, like every
and
I mean, we work constantly, and like I said earlier, like at the very beginning, like we are always constantly working on this and looking up every review, everything you say. We're constantly looking and try to implement or see what's the best way to do it.
Oh my god! And I think that is something like I touching on that. That is one of the reasons for the tech talks. Not to toot our own horns in these things, but to just show how much we put into this, because I think a lot of times, more than not, we see people's feedback, or we're seeing the negative comments from people that don't really realize like how much has gone into stuff, and they just say something off the cuff, something without much thought. So like you can't fault them too much because they're just speaking their mind at the moment. But like that sort of stuff really gets to us. It's like, oh, they don't even know. Like it's a throwaway comment to them, but to us, it's like, no, we've done so much. Why would they think that? And so like the hope is that like doing these more often and having this history lesson out here so that people can research it and more people are aware of it is important to us. Actually, side note, I don't know how we don't have a Wikipedia page for how much we've raised, but regardless, it's crazy to me at this point. But like, we really just want people to understand the story of what we've done, so that they know where we're coming from and can start to trust us that I don't want to say we make every single decision that we make is right, but we put a lot of thought into all of the decisions that we make. And if we end up being wrong, we do go back and fix it. But like, we really do just love what we do, put a lot of thought into it, and want people to be aware of that more than anything. And then obviously, there's also the self gain of cryptocurrencies and nano integration with crowd control. No, this was a quick thought process. Throwing Nano into the mix real quick. Nano is a cryptocurrency that is very low powered, meaning like it does not require GPUs and mining, and it's not polluting the environment in that case, but it's fast, it's almost instant, and there's no fees. So sending 1 nano, the people will receive 1 nano. And we did an integration test with crowd control on March 10th on Mario Day in 2021, where people were able to mess with me on Mario 64 using nothing but Nano to kind of test that sort of thing. And like, it's still in testing. It's still something that like we're exploring, because like the more platforms and the more ways you can send things through, the better, because it's going to open up opportunities for more things in the future. And that's where we are today. We're the history of Warp Worlds crowd control, from Bitraces to crowd control in an hour or more, with GrandPooBear, Saturn, and Jaku. And we can move on over to our Q&A at this point.
And I'm sure there's a lot of things we missed in there too, but
absolutely.
I could think of a few things as we're going. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Absolutely. There's a lot. This is why this is 2 parts for sure. There is no way we could have condensed this and then got into the huge technical details of all of what we just talked about in an hour and a half. People have GTA to play, okay? We got things to know. But yeah, also people's attention span. Like nobody wants to watch a Marvel movie of us talking, like a length of a Marvel movie. So let's go on over to the questions. Let's bring this up. X Darth Roni. This is for Jaku. How did it feel to realize your hard work was featured on top places like Forbes, CNN, etc.? And how do you plan for the future as a result? Not really crowd control related, but I don't know. I don't know. Like we're in a simulation. Is all I can kind of like go on. I don't think this is real life. Like, I mean, it's real, but it's a simulation. Nothing's real. I don't know. I just do fun things. I get curious. I deep dive, and then I tell people about it because I want other people to know things and learn. And I had no plans for the future of where I would be with anything. So I don't know this answer. I'm sure that's not the best answer in the world, but I don't know. That's the best I can give you. Oh my god. We got another question from Darth Roni. I know you say that CC was for old school games, but have you ever thought about expanding CC to augmented virtual reality games in the future when tech becomes more available? Question for Jaku Saturn. Sorry, Pooh. Pooh can answer this.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Absolutely.
All games except Donkey Kong 64, baby. Every game.
We're sticking with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think augmented games, especially like me and Pooh, are huge believers of AR, I think.
Yeah.
We both are like, AR is going to be the big thing. Virtual reality is cool, but AR is going to be crazy. And so like some sort of crowd augmentation with that, amazing. And yeah, there's definitely some games that we have had talks with, I will say, in the VR space. So I am not even going to try to pronounce this one. But Z, can you watch recordings of Adventures of M online? You can. There is a Twitch channel. I believe it's just Project Adventure, twitch.tv/Project Adventure. And you should be able to find the VODs, I believe. Otherwise, reach out or put something in the description of the YouTube video, and or Ross will probably type it in the chat for you. Unknown availability asks, what is something you look for in making crowd control interact with the game? Great question. This is obviously very important because certain games just do not work for crowd control.
Well,
as well. Well,
you mean like Animorphs?
I mean checkers. Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about Animorphs just yet. And there's something brewing. But like at the end of the day, like a game like checkers, like okay, you can, without breaking the rules of the game, what can you do with checkers? You can make somebody a king, and you can remove pieces and add pieces. But that's 3 effects, and it's like, okay, that's not really cool. You can't reverse the gravity in checkers and have it be unique. So I think like not every game is going to be 100% something that crowd control should do, but like if you look hard enough, I think there's ways to find something for just about anything where it makes sense. But we don't want to just be like, oh well, let's just add crowd control to this because we can. We want to make sure that it's something that makes sense. With the exception of there was one game that we added that we're like, yeah, let's just do it. Duck Hunt. That was like a 2-hour project though. It was for a troll, which is something we love to do.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, usually at the end of the day, someone's had to be streaming this live as part of like their content. So it should be fun still, you know?
Yes.
The effects should still be fun. It should still be it should still have some sort of gameplay. They should be able to complete the game at some point still. So
it should only create a challenge for them, really, is what it is. Whatever happens to them should, other than death, instant death, like sometimes there's counters for that though, but really typically, as long as there's something that they can show off their skill to avoid, or just, yeah, if an effect happens to them, they should be able to like counterbalance it somehow with gameplay, with bad gameplay. But yeah, as long as it's still fun, I think that's the core thing. Quagmire 109, when doing charities, does take a different proportion of bits than normal? No, there is no bits on the charity support. It is all done through Tiltify. Through the extension, you click on the Tiltify link and you make your donation there, and we don't get a cut. All the money goes towards the charity, as if you went straight to the Tiltify donation page yourself. The big distinction is you must click on the extension version of it. You cannot go to the charity page and donate and expect your coins to show up. It must originate from that extension every single time. Your coins from that streamer's channel prior to the charity are not available. Only coins purchased during the charity are available. And as long as it's all part of the same campaign that the streamer has, like GrandPooBear, myself, and Saturn could all be running the same Tiltify campaign, and coins purchased on his channel in this case would work on mine during this campaign event. So it's basically those coins are stuck to that campaign. And there are no sub coins and or channel points for that as well. That is one big distinction. And then final question is from the Jared Wilkert. Who should I give my Prime sub to? Whoever you want, man. But Pooh will say him because that's the streamer answer.
I should give it to Saturn since he gave up all those subs he could have had over the years to work on all this stuff.
He did.
There you go. Go for it.
We got another question though. This will be for all 3 of us, I think. Darth Roney, thank you so much for all the questions. What is your favorite CC game of all time? I'll go first because Mario 64, I think, is my favorite. It is the one when I am describing it to people that do not know Twitch or do not know video games as well as we would. And it's the one I show them off because all the effects in that game are 100% just like, what they are based on the name. There's a huge amount of effects for it where like it's just so much fun. Like there's so many different dynamics of the effects. You can squash Mario, you can give them flight, you can shock them, you can set them on fire, you can restart the level. It's like a perfect example of what crowd control could look like for almost any other game.
Sure. And then that's probably one of the best ones. I think another good one that I like a lot to see is there's so many good ones. I would say a newer one, I think, Sonic Mania. I really like that one. That one's very trolly, and the person who made it had a lot of fun making it, and it's great. It's a good one.
I haven't seen that.
Sonic
one
Mania
yet,
was really good.
You got a favorite? I don't know. I'll always be partial to Link to the Past, just because it was the first one I saw, and Cat knows it the best. You know what I mean? So it'll. I think A Link to the Past will always get those like extra special attention. But and it's also it's a good one because it's like everything's very visual that happens on it. Sometimes there's effects that you may not know are going, like reverse controls or things like that you may not see in other games. But yeah, unless Andy's playing, which you reverse his controls, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Never even know. We got all great answers though. Sonic Mania is one of the newest ones, and it's definitely the passion from the developer that worked on it is something that you can see. All right, we got another question from Florian Sorcerer. Piggybacking off Roni's question, what is the number one game you'd like to see added to crowd control? Yonoid. No. Without giving away any new games in the works.
Sure.
Let's add that modifier.
Let's see. Let's open up my Steam library real quick, right?
That's a good idea. That's a great idea. There's just so many.
So we did say Stardew is one that I thought would be perfect, and someone did work on that already. We're almost to the point of that. But I think sandbox games are just tons of fun when it comes to these things.
I mean, I want to say mine, but we're kind of half working on it already, so I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
But I would just say my biggest excitement is, and where I'm most excited for and want to see things, are games with a full server of people in them.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's so many games, honestly, that like I'd love to see, and like coming up with any of them, like it's like I know all the games we're working on, and so many of them are like the games I want to see. I think something like Dead Rising, though, thinking about like the zombie or a Resident Evil game, like just zombie interactions and stuff, and like a survival horror game, I think would be amazing, just because we haven't done that yet. And so Resident Evil would be amazing to do. I also we forgot one thing in the huge list of things in 2020. We released our first official crowd control integrated game, Toe Jam and Earl. And it was after it was a lot of work working with that team. It had started in March of 2019. Myself, GrandPooBear, and a few others all played that game on stream. And like we all were like, this would be perfect for crowd control just based on the presence system. And like we worked with the team and got it added, and that was like a big start of 2020 for us as well. All right, Quagmire asks another question. What streamer did you enjoy the most watching how crowd control tortured them? I've got a special place in my heart for Sly Foxhound on this.
I was gonna say, I think we both have the same answer.
Yeah. I'm not typically one that enjoys like a louder streamer, but for some reason Sly Fox is like one of my favorites to watch when he's doing crowd control, and like so much that I will watch their stream when they're not playing crowd control now too. But it was just like he really knows how to work with the crowd, and they work against him in so many fun ways.
Albert's another one is always a good time.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, Albert is really good. Albert is really good. I like watching Xwater.
Yeah, of course, he's good with it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Good one. Mr. Mez asks, will you be showcasing CC again when TwitchCon is back on the table? I'll be honest. 2019. After 2019, we were actually thinking about skipping TwitchCon for 2020. Luckily, well, not luckily, but COVID happened and we skipped it anyways. I think we're back on for 2022, though. I don't know about 2021. I don't know if that's happening.
Yeah.
But I think it's possible. For us
Yeah,
to be
I mean, I
back
think
at TwitchCon.
we were also all like a bit burnt out on traveling at that time.
Yes.
So I think we're all in a bit of a different headspace now.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
All right. I'm going to close the queue.
Excitement for traveling.
Absolutely. I'm going to close the queue for questioning after this last question. So
Okay.
get them in now if you have them. Loot1217 asks, is there any sort of determining factor that makes it easier to integrate with a game, i.e. older SNES games, indie devs, willingness to help? Yes. So there are a lot of factors in how to integrate with the game. NES and Super Nintendo games, like typically some of the easiest for the basic effects.
Yep.
Because back then it was literally just flipping a bit here or there in the memory. Even Mario 64 was fairly simple to find a lot of fun stuff for, especially if the game's been documented to hell and back. If indie devs are willing to work with us, even better. Obviously, mods exist for games where there is no source or no plugins available, so it depends on there. But with Unity, it makes it really easy to mod games these days. So there's a lot of different answers that go into this. But like SimCity, like I will bring it up every time because SimCity was a 48-hour project. Like it was a Saturday, Sunday, released on a Monday practically project, and it was super simple to do. And
tried to get Xwater to do it for St. Jude, man. I was excited about it.
I know. I was so excited that I'm like, that'd be so much fun. He's like, I've never played it. Well, then play it.
Right? It's SimCity for SNES. It's not hard, Xwater.
Yeah, come on. You can use your chat. But at the end of the day, it was a simple game. But a game like Cities, very similar game, just on a new platform on PC. A lot more difficult. A lot more work goes into it. So,
and one thing we didn't mention too is our SDK. So with that, now that opens up a ton of stuff. So a lot of the more recent games we've been doing have been games that have a mod loader in the background. So that just makes it even easier to make any game possible, really.
Yeah. And like I said, next week we're doing the Tech Talk, much more technical deep dive with SDK and all that stuff. All right, closing this queue. Do you think CC would ever be used in a tournament? I believe it has in various ways, but absolutely, I feel like that would be fun. One of the things that we've done recently is use crowd control in a few different ways with streamers.
I thought there was a link to the past. Yeah.
I feel like there was.
I think there was a link to the past.
I know Cat would be like, yeah, there's been 4. What are you talking about? But like we had Ludwig and 2 others, Stans, and I don't remember. Sorry, so many names to remember. But
Ludwig's friends.
Any effect that happened to Ludwig happened to the other 2 as well. And so like that was really fun, and that's a perfect opportunity for a tournament where like everyone's from all the chats can choose the effects and it will happen to everyone evenly. Because that's the thing with the tournament, like Bitraces is kind of a tournament, but at the end of the day, you could literally, one streamer could literally give a bunch of money to a friend and be like, make sure they die every 4 minutes. And like, they're not going to do that, but they could. So it's unfair. And final question from Brian TTP, asking the hard-hitting questions. When is the Warp World dating sim coming, and will it include crowd control?
TBD. I mean, and yes.
Yes. You know what? I'm not going to say that Warp World will never make a video. We might make a video game one day. Who knows? Again. Yeah.
It'd be our second game.
Yeah. You're right. We might make another one. Third, actually, technically. I mean, we had the Dino Racing Moon Masters. There's 3. I mean, so if we make a third game,
we could count the Warp World Coin Catastrophe, technically, maybe.
Oh yeah, yeah. So 4th game. If we make a 4th game, yes, it'll absolutely
more games than Valve confirmed.
You know what we've actually saw. We just saw project on Kickstarter actually is working to
Oh,
make
yeah.
crowd control involved in it right away, which is very cool to
Yep.
see. And I think you're going to see hopefully more and more of that, especially if you're an indie game dev out there watching this, contact us. We would love to help you get crowd control in your game. It helps give visibility to it, keeps it alive a little bit longer on Twitch, which if you're an indie dev, you know that's important. And we would love to be in your new game day one of release. So let us know how we can help. We would bend over backwards to do it. So
yeah, and like I said, like next week, same time as this one, we are going to get much more technical. And in the future, later on in the future, Kat will be doing like a workshop of going through building your own effect pack. Through probably we haven't decided if it's going to be like a PC or a SNES game or what, but they will probably be going through the process of building your own game and how to use the SDK for people that are curious about it and or just want to see more about it. So again, this was a bit longer even than I expected. There's a lot of history with crowd control. Like I said, it was something that we didn't really realize until like we had to take a step back and start listing things that we did. And we wanted to make sure people had the full story before we kind of went into the next details of things. Because all of the choices we have made have also like led towards the technical decisions. And so knowing that stuff really helps set the stage. So thank you everyone for hanging out on your Friday. I know many of you are out there dying to play some Grand Theft Auto, so I will leave you now to do so. But I mean, I'm included in that. So, but yeah, thank you.
Hopefully, this is a
everyone.
good start. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Saturn, and Pooh. I know. So next week it's gonna be myself, Kat, and we're gonna have Ross back. Ross did the extension design and all that stuff. Kat did the back end, and I'm just the guy that takes credit for everything. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.
Peace out.